All right, hey, the shutdown, President Trump tweeting at House Speaker Pelosi this morning, quote, "Why would Nancy Pelosi leave the country with other Democrats on a 7-day excursion when 800,000 great people are not getting paid? Also, could somebody please explain to Nancy and her big donors in wine country that people working on farms will have easy access in?" Joining us now, Tammy Bruce, Independent Women's Voice President, also Fox News contributor. A lot of back and forth going on here. What do you make of it?
Well, it's classic Trump, right? I mean, we know he likes a foil. This is about what politics is. I knew that, remember when it was about who was going to be the new Speaker of the House, he was really pushing for it to be Nancy, because she really does define the nature of what the Democrats have become. There is still no interest in governing. It's all about politicking. It's not about the interests of the people for the Democrats or what's going to be better for the American people. And I think this choice and what he's highlighted here of that trip versus their complaints about the shutdown is a very good example and a reminder to the American people about who has their best interests in mind.
I mean, the letter was so stinging. I'm sure you would agree, postponing this public relations event. Obviously, you would like to make, if you'd like to make the journey by flying commercial, it would be your prerogative. I mean, you know, those are not so subtle hints at the fact that you're very wealthy. This could be perhaps your third trip. You know, Democrats have been in Hawaii, they've been in Puerto Rico.
It was an entire crowd.
That's what shocked people when the bus stopped and all these folks came off.
It wasn't just the Speaker of the House. This was, you know, like going to Sandals over, you know, it was like a big group of people with an all-inclusive paid dynamic. And this was just after she said there wasn't enough money for security for the State of the Union address, but somehow there was enough security to make this possible.
And ultimately to go to Afghanistan.
Yes, exactly.
That's sort of contradictory. But the Dems know that no matter what, they can't overplay their hand with respect to the media, because you would have never thought, I can't imagine Republicans going on a retreat to Puerto Rico, being caught, you know, have a pina coladas at poolside, talking to lobbyists while 800,000 government workers weren't getting paid.
Well, see, and this is what we saw with the election, and I think with the American people in general, even with the media covering for the Democrats, as they covered for Barack Obama. The American people have enough sources of information now, certainly various news outlets, even if it's only 15%, but the internet, they're looking at the reports of these things. They don't need it explained to them. They look at it and they see that it's ridiculous or unfair, and they're going to come to their own conclusions. And so there's enough out there now, which is, of course, what rankles legacy media, is they don't want these other alternative sources of information. There's enough for the American people to make up their own mind.
Okay, I want to get you to make up your mind for us and share your thoughts on the new Gillette ad, because it's a lot of people feel like it's a polarizing ad. You have a new piece out on this on foxnews.com where you write in part, "It's time to stand up and stop this pathological frenzy to marginalize boys and men." Explain what you mean there.
Well, we've seen this happening, especially if you'll recall, during the 2016 election politically. There's political interest here of saying that women who voted for Trump, as an example, were doing what the men in their lives told them to do, whether their boss or their husband or their son or whatever. What the Democrats have seen is that, and what they don't want, is for couples to be making decisions together. The influence of both parties in a relationship. They want to isolate women across the board. And in order to do that, you've got to, of course, demonize or remove men from the picture. This is, of course, not going to happen. But what you see it in politics, you see it in the attack that men are experiencing there. But what I would suggest also, this is a little bit about the political correctness and the direction of the left. But we know that mobs running politics is not a good idea. And mobs trying to run business and pressuring business is not a good idea either.
It's early, but there's one poll out right now that says the ad might be working, that more people are saying that they're going to buy the product as a consequence of it. What do you make of that? Well, I mean, again, it's a poll. We don't know. Just like the Colin Kaepernick thing, I look at Nike's earnings. I don't see anything discernible to say that it made a major difference, but it didn't hurt them.
Well, we'll have to see. Remember, also part of their, I guess, their business framework would be trying to appeal to women. But I don't think this is the mistake. You don't appeal to women by marginalizing their partners and the men in their lives. You also don't appeal to men by telling them either how to behave in life or to suddenly it's either about how you raise your children or how we're supposed to be raising boys. That's also not the business of business. Right. And this is what I think we're all being lectured at. Men are being lectured at. Americans are tired of it, and we might see in a longer run, because there are alternatives for shaving products, and Americans will make decisions accordingly.
All right. Tammy, it's great seeing you. Thank you very much. Hey.